Hi, stamping friends and crafters. This is Diane, the Creative Inkster, coming to you live from Guelph, Ontario. And tonight is Technique Tuesday. I'm going to show you how to do a quick, fairly quick, but a fun, interesting technique and way that you can use your Stamparatus and do something called wreath stamping. So what you're doing is stamping the same image equally around in a circular motion. Pardon me. So I did this one with the prized peony stamp set. I used the smaller, I'm sorry, I used which one? No, yeah, I used this one here, the kind of smaller one. It's a red rubber stamp, so this one down here. Then I thought I'd experiment with a few other cards and another couple other ways, and I did the snowflake. And for the snowflake from Snowflake Wishes, I used this one. And I really think that turned out quite well. And these are, by the way, 4x4 cards. So they still fit in a regular envelope, still fit into a clear envelope if that's your jam, but you can make your own envelopes for them if you like. And then another one I did with poinsettia petals, which I got this stamp set after Christmas, and I haven't even used it yet. So I used this one down here. It's a little bigger than this one. It's a little more open, and so it really doesn't look like a poinsettia, I don't think. I think it just looks like almost a pinwheel or an element other than a flower. So I'm going to show you how to make this one with timeless tulips. Now I did try a couple of other ones and I didn't keep those samples. And you do need to stamp a specific size. You can't start with something that's too big, or I tried the dragonfly and it's too wide versus long. So something a little more square in size, if you will. So let's get started. You got to do a couple of things. So before I grab the stamp, you need to grab your Stamparatus. Now, if you don't have a stamp positioning tool, you could always try to do this just by using the measurements and stamping freehand, because you're going to be covering up the center anyway, so whatever's kind of messy in the center, you can get by with that, I think. But I want to show you how to use the tool. So the Stamparatus comes like this. It does come with two plates, but I'm only using one. And this is great depth for when you're using red rubber stamps, which is what the prize peony is, a red rubber stamp. But if you're doing one with a photopolymer stamp, you're going to need to add the extra pad in. So it comes with a black pad. I think it looks just like this. And I just recently bought the deluxe version because it has grid markings on it, just a little bit more helpful. But in addition to that, to protect that surface, we're going to use the grid paper. So I don't know if you know this, but we sell grid paper for the Stamparatus. So you could also cut your regular paper, but grid paper is kind of helpful for lining this up. So you could use your grid paper even if you didn't want to use a Stamparatus. Oh, Riley, stay calm, dude. We're good. So what you're going to need, hey, go lie down. Shh, go lie down. What you're going to need is a pencil and a piece of 4x4. I haven't experimented with other sizes, but you could play with that. And I wanted to get the design sort of plunked in the middle of this. I suppose if you use just plain copy paper, you wouldn't be working around the grid squares, but I kind of had this set up on my other samples to draw around my 4x4 square with my pencil so that I'm creating a square here. So this template that I'm creating, you will have it once you've done it once, you'll have it again. So maybe do it with even, I don't know, maybe vellum or clear, like window sheet. So I have my pencil mark within there, and then I'm going to place this down. That's the square. I'm going to place it in a little bit of a turn to the left so that I'm creating a diamond. And the grid lines do help you line up this if you started with some proper on the proper grid line. So you can draw your other, trace your square on in a diamond fashion. Okay, so what you're left with, this is the piece we're going to stamp on, is your paper here with it this way as a square and then this way as a diamond. All right, I'm going to pull in the one I used last night, or not last night, but when I last made these cards. And I'm going to grab my paper. So now it's time, hi Debbie, to start doing some stamping. So we're going to use Timeless Tulips because this stamp is a really nice size for this. So I don't know, again, if you've tried this before, but when I'm using my Stamparatus, I put the case there, and then that allows me to have something to put the ink, to put the pressure on when I'm putting the ink on. So I'm going to pull my magnet out. I do put washi tape on them, and the washi tape kind of wore off, so it's time to add some more washi tape. Okay, so grab your 4x4. Stick it in the square orientation where you've drawn your square around it. And then just put a magnet in place there. And then what we want to do is position the stamp so it's about 1/4 inch from the top, thereabouts. Nothing's perfect. And centered across your square. Okay, I'm going to use 2 colors. You could certainly use more. So I'll flip my window over and then pick it up. And this is where I do find that with the magnets even, it does wiggle a little bit, so I push it back into place. So this time I'm going to use Highland Heather and Soft Seafoam. I'm making a very conscious effort to use more Soft Seafoam, not a color that I use a lot. So, whoops, sorry. Everything's on the same table, so that's going to jiggle a bit. So ink up your stamp and then press it down. And of course, the beauty of the Stamparatus is if you don't get ink where you need more of it, like I kind of didn't in this one originally, then you can re-ink it. But I'm happy with that. So I take this off, I turn it 90 degrees, because I'm going to do the next purple one, or Highland Heather one, and put my magnet back in place. And I'll try not to make such an impression, such a wiggling of the camera here. And now I'm going to place this guy down, and he should land, because it's a square, exactly in the same position. And I'm not worried about the center because I'm going to cover that up. So then we take this and turn it 90 degrees again. And we're going to repeat this 2 more times. So we'll ink it up. I don't know about you, but some people I've been watching with the Stamparatus videos are using their 1-inch ink spots. That's probably a good idea because you don't end up with ink all over the plate. And one last turn with this. And like I mentioned at the top of this short video for Technique Tuesday, I don't recommend something that is not more of a squared image, like a flower is good and the tulip is good, and the other 2 items that I use, the poinsettia and the snowflake. But something like the whale would work, I would think, although it would look kind of weird. And then, but I wouldn't maybe use the dragonfly. I'm going to try this with the turtle when he arrives. I think my not pre-order, but my second order is coming tomorrow. I'm just going to make sure this is good and clean because I'm going to use a lighter color. So now I'm going to move to Soft Seafoam. Now it's time to turn this. Instead of turning 90 degrees, we're just going to turn it on the diamond so that we place the first one. Again, we're sticking it up in here, so we don't need to move it off the plate over here. We just need to ink it up. Sorry for the shaking. I hadn't thought of that. Flip it over, and I did by design use the lighter color on top. That's what I did when I did my samples, and it just made it a little bit nicer here. Otherwise, the darker color of the 2 really takes over. And put this in the point in the diamond, and you want to keep your paper straight inside this. So up in that corner, I always position it up to the right corner there. Flip this over, press it down, one more 90-degree. Actually, there'll be two more to finish this up. My trick is always not to get ink on my fingers and then transfer it to my basic white layer. Love when you're using the Stamparatus, and if you don't get enough ink, it's like, no big deal, I can go back and add more. And the last turn, to position this on the final corner, I'd really like to see other things done with this. So the video I watched was someone was using a stamp that I don't have, a floral stamp that I don't have. And so I had to get a little creative, but quite happy with the results. Okay, let's get this out of here. And remember with your magnets, don't let them touch each other, and don't get them near your phone or your laptop or anything like that, because they'll demagnetize. All right, clean that off. Tuck this aside. Okay, so now we can finish up the card. I've got this part, whoops, this part done. Now you could put this on a standard card as a layer, because from here you could trim it down a little bit if you wanted to, but I'm really liking these 4x4 cards for fun. So I've got soft sea foam card base, and I have a thin layer of the Highland Heather. It's not quite square. Let's get it on the back side. Here we go. And it's a very, very thin border, okay? And same with this. I would actually want to maybe tuck this down a little bit next time around, but that's okay. All right, grab our glue. I'm going to use Stamp and Seal Plus because I have it open and handy and ready to go. All right, so it's equidistant around. I don't need to worry about what's the top and what's the bottom. Really? Okay, and then I didn't pop the others up, so I'm not going to bother to pop this one up either. If you were going to add ribbon, of course, around it, now would be the time to do that before you glue this layer down, unless you want your ribbon all the way around on the inside. And just going to get this lined up there. Okay, and then for the center, on this one I did a little rectangle. That was just not free cut, but cut with my paper trimmer. This is one of the, I thought I would try to remember, I think it's the Hippos and Friends. So it's a little bit wider, but it's going to fit the May the memories of yesterday comfort you today. I think that was the plan here. Yeah. Take that stamp. And let's see, what should we do it? I think we'll do it in soft sea foam. So get it the right way up and stamp this on here. There we go. And then that will go in the center. I'll put a little bit of ribbon behind it. So I do have some of this carrying over Gorgeous Grape sheer ribbon, which is beautiful. I'm going to do exactly what I did with this one. So it's kind of like that breast cancer ribbon style of fold. Kind of fold it over like this, and then put a glue dot between these two here. It's very sheer, so when you're putting your glue dot on, you gotta be careful not to pull on the threads. Sometimes I get a little bit strong with that and throw it off. Okay, there we go. Okay, and then this is going to go behind here like that, and I think maybe I will just put some Stamp and Seal Plus on here. Oops. And then some dimensionals on the back, and that'll just pop that up. So let me know what you think. If you're watching like Debbie watching live, or if you're watching on the replay, I'd be curious to see what you think of this way of stamping. I think it's kind of fun, something different to do with your Stamparatus. And then we'll add a little bit of jewels here. I'm thinking of doing this for a swap card as an idea of a layout. Because once you get it all set up on the Stamparatus, right, you're good to go. I would make them full cards, though, not 4x4s. And then maybe this one up here. Okay, so there we go. That is it in Gorgeous Grape and Soft Seafoam, and I'll bring the other three in. This is Prized Peony. My thoughts are with you. Thank you Snow Much with the snowflake, it's called Snowflake Wishes. And Poinsettia Petals is this one. Okay, there we go. I'm all done. I will be here Thursday night, 6 o'clock, to do a 3D project. Last week I was supposed to be here. My son got his first vaccine, and I had driven him up there, and I had to be there to bring him back, and so they were running quite a bit behind, but that's why I had to cancel. So I will definitely be here Thursday. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.